Good. Good. Hi. Awesome. I just thought, you were like, looked at my brain page because I figured every time I think you get it on, you get 10, 100, you know.
I am.
And then it's coming out.
I was not a secretary, but also with the water. Actually, before this one started, and I started left down a bunch of garage stuff on the road. So at 2 in the morning, I was like outside. Yeah. Because I had a blue sorry.
Oh, well, you could come see me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fine. Right before it all hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll call you. I don't know.
I'm sorry. Probably got everything.
Don't know. Be back later.
Did you get from everything that you know?
My brain just moves too fast and then I forget.
Yeah, it's like conversations from others.
Yes.
Hi. Between, 5 and 6 people.
I don't know, they got the noise maker going all the way over here. See her hail coming while I'm leaving, going home, don't want the car beat up.
Okay. I don't think we're gonna get it, I mean, it's gonna rain, but.
I said, you don't look that bad out right now.
Did everybody agree?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, hi. Wow. You got dressed up.
When
I'm so proud of you. Hello. Were they still good? I was wearing
Here's what you want.
I mean, we will do minutes to vacancies. That would be.
Right. Oh, right, yes, yeah, it was good. Yeah, got to see through this. We didn't win it, but, you know.
It's okay.
It's a whole different ballgame, but like I said,
That time the council I was on, the library was my job, and I was on the board then.
Yeah, oh, really? He sits at the head table. Oh.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Recording in progress.
roll call. Derek.
Lisa Schmidt,
Here.
Sam Sims. Here. Tierney Peterson,
Here.
Kimberly Bishop,
Here.
Andrea Bergman.
Here. Call us to order at 7 p.m. The City of Grant and the Hastings Memorial Library reserve the right to enter into closed session at any time during the meeting in accordance with the Nebraska Open Meeting Act, even though closed session may not be indicated on the agenda. It is the intention of the City of Grant and the Hastings Memorial Library to take up items in the order which they are listed. However, the City of Grant and the Hastings Memorial Library reserve the right to take up matters in a different order to accommodate the schedules of the council and the library. persons having items on the agenda, the public. We further reserve the right to adjust the order of the items on the agenda. Anyone wishing to speak during public comment may be limited to 3 minutes per person with a limit of 2 individuals speaking per topic position. Please come to the podium, clearly state your name, address for the record, and the agenda topic which you wish to speak upon in a professional manner. This meeting is being recorded. Did the city council get a chance to review the agenda?
I move to accept the proposed agenda for the June 8th, 2026 meeting.
I'll second.
Andrea moved, Kimberly second, that we accept the proposed agenda for the June 8th, 2026 meeting. Any discussion? Andrea, how do you vote?
Yes.
Kimberly?
Yes.
Sam?
Yes.
Tierney?
Yes.
Motion carries. Review and action of prior meeting minutes from May 26th, 2026.
Move to accept action on prior meeting minutes, May 26, 2026, and waive the reading.
Second.
Tierney moves, Sam seconds, that we accept the prior meeting minutes from May 26, 2026, and waive the reading. Any discussion? Sam, how do you vote?
Yes.
Andrea?
Yes.
Tierney?
Yes.
Kimberly?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Let's take roll. Jessica?
Here.
Max?
Here.
Penny? Here. And Maddie is here. Call our meeting to order at 7:03 p.m. Both the City of Grant and the Hastings Memorial Library Board abides by the Nebraska Open Meetings Act. Copy of that act is on display here in this meeting room, as well as several other places in town, including the library. Has everyone had the chance to review tonight's agenda? Yes. Okay. Let's do a roll call vote on this. Jessica, I guess I'm the motion.
Motion for the roll call vote?
Motion.
I'll motion to approve
Agenda, yeah.
the prior meeting minutes.
The agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve action on the agenda. So I got off.
You're all good. It's all good. Okay, Jessica. How do you vote?
Yes.
Max?
Yes.
Penny? Yes. Maddie votes yes. Alright. Has everyone had the chance to review our previous meeting minutes? Alright. Looking for a motion.
Make a motion to approve the prior meeting minutes.
I'll second. Great. Jessica?
Yes.
Max?
Yes.
Penny? Yes. Maddie? Yes. Okay.
I do apologize, I skipped the open meeting act announcement. It is on the south wall over here, it is also online. My apologies. Alright, public comment. There being no public comment, there is no unfinished business, we will move on to new business. Derek, would you read for us?
Yes. So in the packet, I know a lot of you questioned where we got the $99,000 of funding from moving forward for the library. We sent out a survey asking, between Jesse and I, we sent it to clerks and other city administrators. These are the responses we got back. As you can see, Valley is there's quite a range of population in here. Valley is the highest, all the way down to the village of Hay Center has responded to us. The ones highlighted in yellow are very comparable in population size to us. I did put them in population size order, and you can look on the right hand side to see the valuations of all of these second class cities and villages. The budget revenue, this is what they told us that their budget revenue is. You can see we have ours in there from this year, it's 182,567. You move over to the next line, you have the budget expenses at 189,067. And then you have the funding, how all these other cities are paying for their libraries. Some of them are doing, and the first listed here is taxes, that is the property tax levy of how they are funding. Some of them have interlocals, some of them have fees. Some of them use donations and grants. There is only 2 other libraries that partially use utilities or franchise fees. Most everybody on here does just the property tax, which would be the levy. And then a lot of them have donations, fees, library foundation, interlocals with the county, which we do have a small interlocal with our county. And then moving over to the next line, you can see how much the city funds them. So looking at the yellow ones, you look at Wakefield, they are at 126,000. Their valuation is 112 million. Ravenna, they're at $172 million valuation, and they fund their library 150,000. I did talk to them. Their $50,000 difference is because they built the library, and 55 of that is their payment that the city makes to the library or for the building. Plainview, if you look, their valuation is 81,000, and they are funding their library at 84,000 or 81 million. Sorry. Wisner, their valuation is 106 million to their 65,000 that they fund their library. The rest comes from sales tax. So from that 65 to what they make up in expenses is what they fund. And then our valuation is this next year is going to be 95,152, and we are going to fund the library at 99,910 is what we got. So just looking at these, and then Cambridge down here too, I mean, their valuation is 88 million, and their funding is 86,000 to the library. We are funding at the max amount through the levy. Is there any questions that you guys have on this at all? And then I also have over here just comparable, if you guys want to call the library, see how they run their day-to-day operations. I mean, some of them gave me their employees and the amount of hours that they were open.
And some of them wouldn't give you that.
Yes, and some of them did not give me that information and would not.
In the valuation column, how do they get that number? What is?
That is done by the assessor's office, correct? That's how we get the valuation.
That's like the value of the building, the books inside of it?
No, this is the valuation that they give us for our levy.
For property.
Property.
As a
Yes.
city.
Like
Town. Sorry.
Got it. Okay.
Is there, so currently we're doing franchise fees, but now we're moving to the levy, is there a reason, cause I just am curious, why we can only be funded from one thing and not multiple?
What we're looking at is over time, this will allow us to budget better for the library.
Okay.
Cause if the valuations go up, we can give the library more of that. So say our evaluation goes up to 106, there would be more there to fund the library if we're doing it off of the valuations. The franchise fees, we have taken from other departments enough. I mean, like our cemetery is getting $30,000, the airport's getting 20, and we're having to draw more just from the electrical, and that's why we want to pull the franchise fees back to support the cemetery, the airport, the park and rec that has been taken, and then also bring down those so we're not transferring $120,000 $167,000 out of electric just to support the other departments.
And this is to stabilize it, so
Yes.
that as the budget is very tight. Like 7 years ago, it wasn't so tight. We were able to move things around, but now it's really tight. And in order to stabilize it, we have to find a way to fund it.
We also were made aware, or have been made aware at several of our past meetings, educational sessions, that the franchise fee is continuing to be a ballot issue. Or brought before at least, for discussion, and so literally at any point, the state could decide that that is not a valid funding source for the city, and if that happens, all of those departments get dropped to zero.
I mean, we
And
have.
it's been very close in the last few discussions as well, so it's getting very tenuous to even be a revenue stream for any department.
And with the state and the way that this legislative session looked at putting a hard cap of 2% plus real growth, it did not pass this session, but I can guarantee it'll be right back in the next session, cause it was close to getting enough to going through. They're gonna cap that. We've already learned that we are going to lose, they say 5 to 10%, maybe up to 20% of our municipal equalization funds. So we are looking at a future of trying to support everybody with the funds that we know we can get.
Sorry, and I guess, and sorry if this is a silly question, but I just joined the board this year, so I'm trying to catch up. And, so with the budget cut, are we moving to being from the property, are we moving from the franchise fee to the property?
Yes, yeah, so you guys will be funded through our levy that we have. And we are going to do the 10.5 cents per $100 valuation, which equals out to the $99,910. Cause what we have to do is this 95, so we will get a valuation in the next budget cycle, that'll be higher, cause this is the valuation that we got this year for our levy. And that is where we're taking the number off of, cause we are always a year behind on looking at what our valuation is to what we're receiving in the levy. So if this, like I say, in October when we get the new valuation, if it's 106, then for the fiscal year 27, 28, we would be looking at increase of funding to the library, possibly.
So, with moving away, we're not doing the franchise fees, we're doing the property tax, the levy.
Yes.
That's where the funding is come from. Is the library the only bucket that's going to? Or is the levy gonna be?
So the levy is used for our economic development. Yeah, it's used for economic development, and then it also pays our police contract. And that will pretty much take all of it between these three departments.
Okay, so it'll be library,
Library,
police,
police, and
economic development. Okay.
But is the 2.5 cents, like, that's guaranteed?
That is by state
State
statute,
statute.
that is
That is
the
the max.
maximum that we should be providing to the library. So but it has maximum in there, I mean, we can't guarantee what would happen in the future with everything with the state legislature tightening things, so.
Right, so anytime the state cuts the city, it's not like the city can go work overtime and get more money. When they make cuts and when, the valuations, you can only draw in so much money. There is no overtime for us to make up anytime there's a budget cut or, we have a limited pool of money. And the most priority is always gonna be infrastructure. I mean, that's the purpose of the city.
So that is where we got the number from. I mean, we sent out a survey, that's how we felt we should best fund the library moving forward. This looking at,
surveys for every department, like.
yes,
Just so it's clear to you guys, like this is how they do, the city does all of their budgets. Cause they get these numbers for every department, like it's not just library, it's every department, so that they can make sure that they're within the range of what other communities are doing.
And we do that for healthcare, for, all the benefits like sick days, personal days, all that. We send out a survey, you know, so we're trying to be competitive with our people and stay the same as others. They're similar to other cities.
Every department and every position.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is there, just cause this was such a big cut and kind of I mean, we knew it wasn't increasing and we knew there was possible decrease, but just with the number, is there any time or any negotiation for this budget for this upcoming fiscal year, like instead of the 99,000 that's allotted, is there any chance we could? Well, so we got cut 48,000. Could we cut that in half and then like work towards getting to the smaller number? Is there time to do that, or?
what do you think?
Just cause it was such a big cut, I guess, like the 48,000. And I understand where the numbers came from, but just as like kind of a sticker shock to the library and how it's operating, like is there any way we could cut it 24,000 this year and cut it, you know, like keep cutting it down to eventually get to that 99,000, make it like a 3-year plan versus all at once?
I mean, that would probably be something if you guys are preparing your budget and you look at it, you do the numbers, you come back to the council and be like, hey, maybe we need 10,000 more to make everything work. That would be their decision.
For me, I would see more than that, cause all I'm seeing right now, and this is my opinion, is an anti-city campaign. We told you at the last budget season that this was coming. And between now and then, nothing was done. So then I asked Derek to remind you guys that this was coming, and so he sent a reminder in February. So some of the stuff that could have been done between last year and now was, since you don't do so much at the school, reach out to the school for interlocal. Since you do so much at the hospital, reach out to them for interlocal. A lot of our departments pass on their fees to the customers. Now, there's a certain part of the library that needs to be free, but there is some fee-based ideas that Derek had given you guys, and all of that that could have helped you has been rejected. So for me, if you do come to us and just ask for more money, for me, it would be hard for me to swallow, because it's like we've already tried to help you with all Derek's ideas, tried to give you ideas, and all of them were basically
Shut down.
So when you're not helping yourself, if you're gonna come back and ask for more money, for me, it would be a hard ask, but I don't know how the other council members do it.
In my opinion, if you came back with like a 4-year plan, I mean, you know, this is what we can do, this is where we can now start charging, or we're going to start charging the people who don't pay any taxes that come in and use it an amount. This is what we can generate possibly in a year doing this. This is what we are planning to do. We could possibly generate this. And not just come with, here, we want another $12,000 this year because that's what we're, maybe like a 3 or 4 year plan that we can do this, we can dwindle it down here because we can collect this. And then you know what? not everything's gonna work perfect, it never does, but you might be able to say, oh, we made 20 instead of 18,000, that really worked, and then the next year, you know, kind of, not just, for me, it would be like, what are you gonna do in the next 3 or 4 years that can make this work? That you could collect fees or do other ways, or other ideas that you have that would generate money to sustain where you're at now, or get close to it. I guess that's my opinion, but.
Yeah, and I can't speak for everyone, but I just joined in January, so I knew like budget was a big thing. But yeah, we, like you remind us about the sales tax in February, and it's kinda like, whoa, what? And you know, now here we are in June. So it's just been a lot of learning on my part and other members, newer members.
So, sorry, go ahead, finish.
No, that's all I was saying, so I'm just trying to still kind of get the bigger picture, I guess, of everything and how all the departments work together, that sort of.
Appreciate that. Appreciate it. It's a hard learning curve. So July 22nd last year is when we approved it. We said how much we were going to give the increase for franchise fees. But one of the things that I said in that meeting was that that 2026 was an election year. It would be good for you to go to constituents of Grant and ask for them what they want to increase. It gives them a chance to then say, hey, this is what we're willing to support. And constituents of Grant are willing to support a pool and a nursing home. And that was, in previous years when we suggested that be a fundraiser, the feedback we received, I know not everybody's new to the board, but it was, we don't want to compete against the nursing home. This year you weren't. And so that was suggested in July 22nd to put something on the ballot. And had something been put on the ballot, it would have went to the primary election. The primary then skips 1 quarter, which would meant that it would have started on October 1st. So you would not have missed any funding. And so when we came in January, the reminder was, hey, you probably really want to put something on the ballot now, because you could have still put it on the primary. You can still put something on the ballot for the general election too, but you will still skip a quarter, okay? So it will take some time. I suggest you put something on the ballot still for the general election, because then you give the county or you give the city, give the people in the community the ability to basically give a referendum of what they want for the library, referendum for us, referendum to everybody. Yes, we want to fund it, we're willing to fund it with the sales tax, we're willing to do this. You can do an interlocal agreement, you can have a combined library that is a county combined library with the city, it's our same building, it can be the same levy, the city, the constituent of Grant would not pay a penny more, they would just keep their current levy. You could ask the entire county, hey, they're using it 50% of the time, if you get that, you're good. You know, so there are options. Now you are going to skip a quarter. I mean, if you put it out. If you put it out to the whole county, and the county says, no, that's a referendum too, right? Everybody got to have a say. The referendum is how do they want the library funded? What we have offered is, one of the things that was explained about the franchise fees is it was going up every single year. And we said, we want a solution. Okay? And we are pulling from streets, we're pulling from cemetery, we're pulling from Parks and Rec to fund the library. That's not fair to these other departments. We're getting complaints about these other departments not being treated as well. And so it had reached a breaking point. And so what the constituents of Grant have authorized us to give you and voted on is the levy. And so if you come back to us with a working budget or saying, hey, this is how we're going to increase, that would be something more, as opposed to just saying, hey, give us more money or just decrease it. We have opportunities. We don't just throw that money out. Derek's one who will help you work with the budget, give you different ideas. We can talk about the next proposed budget. There are options and there are solutions, and we're willing to work with you, but you gotta work with us too.
I feel like a lot of this stuff that you're suggesting now is like I'm hearing it for the first time. I don't feel like, I wish we would have had this meeting months ago. I mean, you came and you said, yeah, we're gonna have budget cuts, but you gave us no idea how big a budget cuts, which I understand. You don't exactly know all of that, but this type of meeting would have been, I guess, for me, so helpful, because then I could have understood that we needed, I feel like I'm hearing this for the first time. And that's frustrating for me.
I agree, because it was mentioned over and over and over, and it should have been on your guys' library board packets to discuss. It should have been, and that's not you, it should have been put on and discussed.
But I wish you guys
Would have come there,
would
well,
have,
you should have a council representative there every meeting, and I think Derek and Lisa are there sometimes, and Tierney. So, but, yes, I mean, it should have been, cause it has been talked to through the director, through the library, for the last 5 years. 5 years, we've talked and talked and talked. It should have been on your guys' agenda to go over.
and you realize that we're all new.
Yeah,
But
and
your,
you know what?
your director is not new.
I mean, I want us to all get along,
Well,
because we
I'm-
all need to get along, we don't need to point fingers and.
No, but
do
that is a hard
that.
fact,
So-
is that the director is not brand new. She's been there for quite a while. She knew this was coming, we've talked about it to past council presidents, I mean, Ashley, Dan, Carol, I mean, Andrea.
Renee, I mean, there's been, well, we're not gonna go into
No,
the
right.
turnover on the board.
But,
That's
but
not what we're
it's,
doing.
this is not a new subject, I know you guys are a new board, and I apologize for that. But the point that, like Derek said, we're to the point where we can't sustain it anymore, and so then we have to just move forward with what we can sustain.
Yeah, the other thing is like, the reality is, we don't actually have to even, we didn't have to tell you until budget season, we're telling you now because we care about the library, when she has a plan now. You know what I mean? We didn't tell you in July, you know, when we could have, you know, if we were trying to be malicious about it, we would have told you in July when you came to present your budget and say, no, you're cutting down the levy and that's it. You know, we have been trying to work with this for over a year now and say, this is what we're concerned about. And I understand that it's new and it maybe you just, I'm sorry, it's frustrating to heard about it. But we have been presenting this as an issue and talking about this for a long time to the library board. And we did have this conversation with the library board, it was just a different library board 2 years ago.
Yeah, we had this exact sit down exactly like this 2 years ago with the people there, and unfortunately, they don't stay. I don't know how, I mean, sorry, I mean, I don't know how to say, I wish they did, because then we would have, it wouldn't be so much put on you guys, it would be the people who have been there. I mean, there were some people that were on the library board that were there for years and years and years that have stepped away.
My main, I always have this like main question of who's responsible for finding out how to fund the library? Is it the city council's responsibility, or is it the library board?
So the city gives so much. You guys have other funding sources that you can get from your foundation, from fundraisers, from schools, from counties, so like the city is a portion of your budget.
Right.
And so that's what the budget season is. The library board has a responsibility to bring a budget to the council. And then the council then decides what that number is to give to the library.
And from what I can see, I mean, obviously the biggest thing on the budget is employee salaries and the health insurance and things like that. I feel like there has been a lot of slimming down of the budget for everything else, and there are very few things that we could then put donations towards. You know, we can't put them towards the big ticket items. And that's why I always have the question, who's really, you know, you guys are in charge of figuring out how those big ticket items are gonna be allocated or paid for. And then it brings me on to the next question.
We're not though responsible to figure out how they're gonna be paid for. We're responsible for figuring out the number, and we actually have no say in how many staff members does the library board decide it takes to run the library, how many hours is the library gonna be open, and so.
Full-time compared to part-time for all of those factors, if you
Right.
like.
So it ends up being the library board that says, this is the amount we get from the city, we've decided it's not enough, we need to go find other avenues, or this is what we're getting from the city, we don't have the time or energy or desire, or don't feel that we need any additional funding sources, so we're gonna make this lump sum of money work, and this is how we're gonna do it. The city has very little control over what we have no control over what that money, that pool of money is actually used for. All we can say is this is the pool. So.
We're in the other departments, we actually have a say in line items.
Yeah.
So,
Like this year, new desks, this year, not a new dump truck or
Right.
whatever.
Right.
Right, so my follow-up question to that was gonna be, if the board, if the city council felt that it was a good idea to go on the ballot for a sales tax increase, why didn't you just push that through? Why did you?
That's comes to the board, correct? That's come from you guys. It has to come from
So-
your board.
so there's this-
To recommend that you guys would want a portion of the sales tax to go on the ballot, and then the council would approve it. It has to come from your board.
So in essence, your question is, are you responsible for finding funds? Yes. We can give you a certain amount of funds, and if we don't provide you the amount of funds you want, you're responsible for finding other avenues to get the funds. The second thing is the Nebraska state law is weird, because we are the authority over all the departments, including the library, but they create this, for lack of a better term, middle management situation where we have to have a middle management of volunteers who then govern the board, even though we have the authority over the board, right? Or we have authority over the board, authority over the library, but they put this barrier between us and the library that then has to be filled by volunteers, and we have to ask you to then fund it, and we can't tell you, we can say, here's the money we're gonna give you, but then you guys have to just choose how you're gonna spend it. So it's frustrating for us because we see these issues, especially when we see turnover, we see those issues, it's like, this is happening again and again and again and again. I understand you guys volunteer because you care about the library, and you volunteer, we care about the library too. You volunteer because you want good things in the city, you want a good library, I get it, and I appreciate you guys willing to be on the board, People volunteer for good things because they want to see good things, so, and I appreciate that, and I also know that volunteers are willing to work, and they're willing to put their effort in, otherwise you wouldn't even be here. You're all for here, you're not getting paid to be here, right? So I appreciate that, so I understand you want solutions, and I understand that it's difficult, and it's difficult for us because this weird middle management thing that they've created creates, it's stressful.
and it makes no sense.
The cemetery is the same way, just so you guys know, the cemetery board funds just like you guys do. They have to manage the money, and it's just for informational, I didn't. Jesse, I have a question for you. The Library Foundation, if they were to give money, if they were to go to them and tell them that they need blankety blank amount, and that money was actually, a check was actually written to the city to be put in the budget, can they not use that money for whatever they would please? It's
Well,
the
I
fact,
mean, it's gonna be whatever the foundation, if they have earmarks to that.
but they could use it for what they want. It's not like only so much can be for health insurance. I mean, if they wanted it to go towards employees' wages, well, can they do that?
Don't know.
Because right now, all Robin does is she gives, or direct, whatever, gives them the bills, they pay the bills, and then we don't ever see what they're even for, or anything like that, so we have no idea. But I just wondered if they gave a direct, like, amount, if there was limitations on it, I guess that's my
I
question.
believe there is some limitations on it.
But in an example like that, if you went to that door and you were like, we wanna use $6,500 for books this year, would you guys give us that money? There's $6,500 for your books that you could move out of your books or whatever line item and put it into your insurance, your wages, health insurance, cause it's something like that where yes, your money, certain donations like that can only be used for certain things, but if they're willing to give you, say that $6,500 for books, you can move that $6,500 from your books out of the $99,000 that you're expecting from us down into your wages or somewhere else to supply those bigger ticket deals.
That's already, that's.
To some extent. think the concern that we had and how we perceived this was when we met in February, we met twice. So during our second meeting, we talked about the sales tax, and what I understood, and I could be wrong, so I would love clarification, so we can all get on the same page, was that even if we got like a certain amount from the sales tax, the city could still cut our budget. So like if we made $48,000, you guys could cut 48 more. So I think that's our major concern with the sales tax, was that if we raise this amount, we could still come back next year, you could give us less, and then we'd be in the same exact position.
I think it's the franchise fees were never guaranteed, because they're not, the franchise fees are not
Right,
library
but from the
fees.
property taxes.
I think if we had decided if the people vote for something that they want to fund, the funds go to that.
Right, but
So,
like, I just wanna make sure, like, if we got a certain amount from the sales tax, I know it would go to us, but would the city take the property tax levy and lower it?
You know what I'm gonna tell you, right now, that, I can answer that I would not vote for it to be taken away.
Okay.
And I can't tell you what the others would vote, but you know what, we are a revolving door also. I mean, we may not get reelected, somebody may not want to rerun, and I cannot promise you who the next person isn't going to come in and say, nope, that library gets 5%, that is all we're, and then if the unanimous group votes, we can't control that. I mean, and I'm not gonna speak for the rest of the council, but I've sat with them for long enough, that there's nobody in here that does not want that library to be as successful as it possibly can be. Or again, we wouldn't be here, or we wouldn't be working like we do to try to get everything to balance. So if that answers your question,
Yeah,
right
that
now,
does
yes, but I can't guarantee that when a new mayor or a new council people come sit on board. That's something you'd have to sales pitch it every single time there was a new budget process.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
think the presentation, that question is strange, because it almost makes it sound like if the library does work to put something on the ballot, let's just call it 5%, that the city is literally gonna turn around and take that same amount away, and that just feels super vindictive, and I have no idea why anybody would think or feel that based on what's the history and the relationship of the city and the library. I mean, I don't think, since I've been here, anything like that has been done to the library ever, and so, but it's two different things, and this statement of could the 10% that we are saying is coming to the library now, could that change in the future? Absolutely, it could change for any department. I mean, if we lose 50% of the funding we get from the government, everybody's going to be cut. I mean, there's not, like to Lisa's point, it's not like a business where you can have a sale and try to bring revenues in. Like, you get what you get, and we'll all have to deal with it. But I think the initial way that was stated, we're like, if we do work and we make it happen, are you gonna penalize us by taking away over here?
This was just when we had that special budget meeting, cause at that time, we didn't know, like, how much was gonna be cut from the budget, so it's all very up in the air, so I might
I
have
don't think any of us
misinterpreted
knew
the
at that
question.
point what was gonna be cut from
Right,
the budget.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know until budget comes exactly what we're dealing with either.
And the other thing, if something, major happened with the infrastructure, which, well, a tornado, that will affect all departments as well. There's so many factors that, there's nothing that we can guarantee. Because of course, if there is a major failure, fire or a tornado or what have you, we're gonna build up the infrastructure first, and the other departments are gonna suffer. It would be the park and rec, the library, and probably the police department. So that there's never going to be, as with anything in life, a guarantee for.
unfortunately, the fun stuff costs the most. Like, most people want water to turn on in their, sink to get water, or they want their power to come on, and they want their sewer and toilets to flush. I mean, those things are not fun, but they cost a lot of money.
The way I see it is the town already voted for the levy, 10.5%. And I'm giving it 10.5%. Vote for that to get the reason. If the town voted for a sales tax, whatever they voted for, that's what I get. I would not punish anybody for, that's what they want. Anything the town wants, and it was one of to support it. You know, if they go for it, yep, I'm not gonna take it away from them.
I agree.
Yep.
Is there anything else on here that we need to?
Do you guys have any other questions on this sheet?
If we did go with this, if we had on the ballot a sales tax increase coupled with streets, would it then be specified even further down? Say it, for just rough numbers, 4% increase. Would it then be specified down that 2% goes to streets, 2% goes to the library?
Cause
It depends how we would decide the verbiage, like currently it's basically 50-50, but we left it open that the council could change that at any time during this, for like the pool project, because if something happened major with infrastructure, it was built for infrastructure. So if they needed to put some of that street money to park something because of the infrastructure, or something else happened that they needed more shifted to the street, that was still an ability, but it was agreed upon that we were gonna do a 50-50. But it all depends on how it's written.
Just write it that way.
during the process.
Just write it, 2% goes to streets, 2% goes to the city. Just write it, however you want it to be, just write it that way, so we can go with it.
And the only reason I suggested streets is because there's so many people that are very passionate about the streets. So you're winning over the people, and I kid you not, they're very passionate about the streets. So you take the people that are passionate about the streets and you get them together with the people who are passionate about the library, and you hope the numbers are good enough to pass the sales, the ask. So you have a better chance, where if you just do streets, then or you just do library, then you don't have a larger pool of people you're pulling from. So the more people you can get excited about paying more taxes, the better it is.
That sounds easy. I got that. Welcome to our world.
Yeah. I mean, cause that's how the pool committee did it, is, and we coupled it with the,
Cause that's where our budget shortfall was falling, and we knew that it could work together.
Yep. And
it did, I think it passed at what, 73%?
I don't remember.
I think it was like
the
73,
percentage.
so I mean, it wasn't like.
It was a good.
It was a good.
It wasn't close, it was a good,
Yeah.
it was a good pass. But you have to, just have that, another group of volunteers that are willing to do that.
Like I said, that's just one option. The other option is to have a combined county city library, interlocal, like it's everything. You know what I mean? And that, if you had up to 10.5% from the county, and the county said, yes, we wanna do that, you know what your budget was every single year. The county says no, then they say no. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with people get to have a say. You know what I mean? They get to vote for whoever they wanna vote. And so if I would encourage them to vote for it. I'll vote for it, but,
Would that just be like with the county commissioners, or that would go on a ballot as well?
But that's going to the ballot.
Okay.
And so what it would do is it go on the ballot, and then everybody in the county would get a chance to vote. Our levy would basically get either a wash, or basically we become a county levy. Our levy isn't gonna double, ours just won't change, you know? And then you would have the whole county use it 50% of the time to say, yes, we want to be support a library, we're using it 50% of the time. You know, and they say, yes, we want to combine library, city, county library. And guess what? You get to use the same building, and you get to use the same staff, and nothing has to change. If they'll agree, you just have to make an interlocal agreement. And if the whole county says yes, wonderful. If the whole county says no, then you know, and it doesn't change our current levy.
Right, and the same thing with the city. If you just do a city sales tax, and the majority of the people say no, then you know they don't support the library for what it's at. So then you know, we know now that they think that the library should be less. Because if there's lots of supporters, they will say, yes, this is where the library needs to be at. But on the hard fact, on the flip side of that, if people say, we really don't want the library. Matter of fact, why does Grant even have a library? And let me tell you, there are people that say that. I'm not even joking. They don't maybe not say it to you, but they say it to me. And so I have to take into all considerations, even opinions that I don't like anti-library. I think we should have a library. So even the people that don't like the library, I still have, as the mayor, I have to consider that.
Can I go back, Tana, wouldn't, if they were to do a county tax like Sam suggested, doesn't that have to pass through the commissioners? And the commissioners would have to approve that to go on? Okay, I just want to clarify that, I was pretty sure.
Kind of same that we would do here.
Yes,
since you guys
yes, you're
went,
correct, yes.
And there's a timeline for that, it might be short, it might be too short for that, cause you got to get them to agree to have it combined, you know, but there is the statute, what was the statute we had the other day that basically spelled that all out? We, you know, it's, I'm just saying there's more than one option in sales tax, the county's an option. County might not be, maybe the county is the option for 2028, I don't know, I'm just trying to tell you, you're not pigeonholed into one direction, you know what I mean? You can see what the interest is in that direction, the interest is no, then you know, yes, but move forward.
I don't have any more questions.
Any of the council have any questions?
I don't think I have any questions. I guess I just would say, like, if I was in your, I have been in your seat, I've been new on the council before, and like, this is overwhelming information. Like, I completely get it. I have been truly amazed by what these two know about city government and money and how it can move and what our options are. So, I mean, I don't think we've had a lot of questions from the library board to Derek or Jesse about options, or what are your guys' thoughts, or what steps do we need to take to have an item on the ballot? So just don't forget that you have resources that.
It's just a thunderstorm warning. At first I was like, oh god.
Yeah, the basement that we would need to go down into.
Okay, if you guys don't have any more questions on that, we'll go to the next page. I don't know if you guys have started on your budget or not. The reason why we wanted to give you the number as soon as we did is so you guys could start working on a budget. This is something that I just kind of put together real quick. It would have the interlocal in it, the new number that you guys would be getting from the city, the 99,000. As you can see, I took out the franchise fee. With your grants and everything like that, you're at about 144,720 if you do grants. This budget was just kind of prepared as if you had staff all at part-time. The director at 25, 2 part-time people at 20 hours. You would, I've worked numbers, I've worked schedules, you would still be able to be open, and this would be for 35 hours a week to be open to the public, with the staff being at 25 and 20 hours. I mean, you can still have 3 employees, obviously you don't have the health and life insurance or the retirement, but it's just a starting point for you guys if you would like to use it. And I mean, obviously, expenses can change around. I did throw the community room rent back on there, probably not gonna do that, but just numbers that I've put together for you, I guess.
And, we talked about the memorial and donations, like on this, we have it at 5,000. And we had, 5,553.08 down at the bottom. So you would be using 553.08 in cash out of your savings probably for that line item. But you can also increase that amount if you think you're gonna have more donations coming in and have that it used to be, I think that we used to have it around 20,000 at one time, or 25,000 or something on those sides, so that if you had a major donation, and you could expend it that fiscal year, so.
Like I said, this is just something that I ran numbers through to see if there was a possible way to make the budget work. And there it is.
I don't think we'll have any questions. I think the biggest thing that we run into is just the employees. And I know that can't be figured out tonight, and it's not your responsibility to figure that out either. I just think that we're gonna have difficulty keeping a library director at 25 hours with no benefits. So, that's my concern. And like I said, the problem's not gonna get solved tonight, but I just wanted to share what my thoughts were.
Like I said, this could just be a starting point for you
And I
guys.
appreciate you putting that together for us.
Minimum hours per week to retain full benefits is 30.
It's only 30 hours?
The only difference is the PTO and sick time vary between. Is it?
Yeah, there's a certain hour break that's in there and stuff, some of those benefits are adjusted a little bit.
Which is in the handbook, right? That breakdown.
Yeah, I don't have any questions.
That was everything that I.
It's a discussion and action, but we don't have to take action on anything, right? Just a
Right.
Okay. Just making sure.
We'll move on to action and discussion on one personnel.
Given the, sensitivity of this issue and, to prevent needless injury to any individual, I'm going to recommend that we go into executive session at, 7:55 with the council, Jesse, the superintendent, attorney, and the library board.
Sam moved. Do I have a second? I'll second. Kimberly second, that we go into executive session at 7:55. Any, discussion? Roll call everyone. Don't roll call.
They'll have to be separate for their board too.
Okay. Tierney, how do you vote?
Yes.
to get that right.
We can-
I'll make a motion to go into executive session with the city council members, including Gary. Let's see, at 7:57.
In order to provide the city attorney on invitation to
Yep.
Including the mayor? You get the mayor as well? I heard city
And the
council.
mayor as well. Don't hurt anybody's feelings.
Is there a second?
I'll make a second.
Okay.
How do you vote?
Yes.
Max? Jenny?
Yes.
Maddie?
Yes.
Okay, we are now in executive session at 7:57. So if your name wasn't called, you need to exit the room.
We're all people in the library tonight. You know who they are?
It's,
What is that, a cat?
yeah.
You took from instead of having a patient board, they took pictures from the back.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I'm gonna go home while they have their secret meeting.
you, gentlemen.
No problem. Hey, that door handle doesn't work. It's just a lock. Oh, God.
Recording in progress.
I will make a motion to come out of executive session at 8:50 PM. Second.
Kimberly moved, Terry was second, that we come out of executive session at 8:52.
8:50.
8:50, okay? Any discussion? Andrea, how do you vote?
Yes.
Tierney?
Yes.
Kimberly?
Yes.
Sam?
Yes.
Motion carried.
We'll make a motion that we come out of executive session at 8:59.
Second.
Any discussion? Alright, Jessica?
Yes.
Max?
Yes.
Penny?
Yes.
Maddie? Yes.
Motion carried, right? Okay. Perfect, thank you, everyone. I adjourn the, oh, wait, sorry. Does, anyone have any question on discussion and action on library role and responsibilities? Sorry, I'm getting tired. They have to help me. Alright, then we will adjourn at 8:51. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
It's great. Appreciate you.
Maddie, do you wanna adjourn?
What? Oh, yeah, sorry. I adjourn our meeting at 8:51.
Expert at doing meetings. Hard enough to run one.
Yeah, they're forever helping me.